Get your popcorn ready, because if history is any indication, this is going to be a great game. Kansas State travels to Austin, Texas to take on the Longhorns in a game that very well could be a Big 12 title elimination game. Both teams are tied for first in the conference at 4-1, so the loser very well could be out. Also could serve as a playoff elimination game for Texas if the Longhorns were to lose to the Wildcats. So, will that happen? That's what we're going to answer today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us today. Our final game of the week before this massive college football weekend. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. We are on a 55-26 run against the spread. Yeah, 55-26. That's 69.7%. You're not going to find a mark like that anywhere else in the country. You're not going to find a price as low as ours anywhere else in the country. The length of the subscription, a full 365 days, the best customer service, everything we're providing, you're not going to find it anywhere else. We're beating out over 80% of the national handicappers and have done so each of the last 5 years. So go sign up, join our GE Nation, and start winning with us today. So let's take a look at this game, guys. I am psyched. I am pumped for Kansas State and Texas. I actually feel like it's a shame that this game's an 11 a.m. Central kickoff. I feel like it should be like a prime-time game here. But we said get your popcorn ready. We said if history is any indication, it's going to be a great game. Why is that? Well, because even though Texas has won the last 6 games against Kansas State, 5 of those have been decided by one possession. So the Longhorns are on a 6-game winning streak in the series, but 5 have been by one possession, including a 34-27 victory for the Longhorns last year and 22-17 back in 2021. Should also be noted that overall 6 of the last 7 have been decided by one possession. Kansas State getting a win, obviously, many years ago. So the Longhorns have got the Wildcats numbers, but Kansas State's been very close to ending that streak. Question is, can they do it this year? We take a look at the offense. The Wildcats are about as balanced as you can be. Over 238 passing yards per game, 226 rushing yards per game. And you can't get much closer than that. So they're extremely powerful through the air. They're fantastic on the ground. They're high scoring, have scored 82 points in their last 2 games against TCU and Houston, are averaging nearly 40 points per game. Will Howard, let's give him some credit, right? Battled some injuries throughout this year, still thrown for over 1,600 yards and 14 touchdowns his last 2 games. He's been phenomenal. 318 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in those wins against TCU and Houston. Again, they outscored those 2 opponents 82-3. 82-3. On top of Will Howard, you've got DJ Giddens as well. 722 yards, 7 touchdowns on the year. And they spread the ball out, man. They've got 7 players with over 100 reception yards on the year. They're balanced. They're electric. They're fast. You know, you think about this team, you don't think of Kansas State being that fast, being that efficient, but they are. They are. They're extremely dangerous. Remember, I feel like people have written this team off. When they lost to Oklahoma State a few weeks ago, everybody kind of forgot about Kansas State. This is still the reigning Big 12 champions. They won the Big 12 for a reason, and they are very much in contention again this year for a reason. A large part of that is because of their offense. Texas, on the other hand, this game is up to Malik Murphy. A massive game for Texas when it comes to their Big 12 title hopes, their college football playoff hopes, and they're going to have to rely on a backup quarterback to get them this win. He threw for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns last week against BYU, but they're going to need a much bigger performance from him this time around against a stingy Kansas State defense, no doubt about it. And let's not take away anything from Texas in that performance last week, but the offense didn't do all that great. The Longhorns won 35-6, but they had a punt return for a touchdown, and they had 2 touchdowns off of BYU turnovers where the drive started inside BYU territory, one of them starting inside the BYU 10. So 21 points off of special teams and really benefiting from favorable field position from the defense. You subtract that, it's 14-6. Again, they got in the end zone, they got the job done. Not going to dog that, but I don't foresee a massive special teams day for Texas or another massive defensive, multiple turnover day for Texas in this game. So the offense as a whole is going to have to do a lot better than they did against BYU, as, again, the special teams and defense playing a major role in that victory last week, which was great, considering it was the first start for Murphy. So it was huge for them. Ultimately, guys, though, on top of Murphy needing a better day and a solid day, you're going to need to have the ground game established. Jonathan Brooks has been outstanding, 923 yards, 7 touchdowns on the year. Texas has rushed for at least 105 yards in every game this season. The 105 Their lowest, that was up against Alabama back in week 2. The second lowest output of the year was 141. So you take away the Alabama game, they've rushed for 141 yards in every game but that. It's pretty dang good. So Texas, which averages over 180 yards on the ground per game, well, they're going to need a big day on the ground. They're going to need that to take a little bit of pressure off Malik Murphy and try to generate some semblance of balance, just like Kansas State has. You take a look at the defense, Kansas State, I mean, they're elite, man. I will use the word elite. Chris Kleiman is a great defensive-minded coach. We knew that when he took the job in Manhattan. We've seen that pretty much every year that he's been in Manhattan, and that has been on display the last few weeks. Listen to this number. Kansas State has not allowed a touchdown in 9 quarters. They have gone 9 straight quarters without allowing a touchdown. If you want to break that down into minutes, they have not allowed a touchdown in 142 minutes and 31 seconds. 142 minutes and 31 seconds. They have not allowed a touchdown. They were trailing 21-17 against Texas Tech, ran the table after that to beat the Red Raiders, only allowed 3 points to TCU, shut out Houston last week. So this defense has been on a completely different level the last few weeks, and if they keep that up, it's going to be very difficult for Texas to score, especially again with Malik Murphy under center. The Wildcats are only giving up 109 rushing yards per game, 234 through the air. The key for them is to stop the run. If you bottle up that run game, that's going to put everything on Malik Murphy to go out there and win the game by himself. Can he do it? Maybe. But do you want him to have to do that if you're a Texas fan? Do you want this backup QB to have to go out there and put the whole game on his shoulders? No, you don't. You need Jonathan Brooks to compliment him. You need a quick 5-yard slant to go 40 yards down the field. You need the receivers to get the yak, man. Get the yards after the catch. That's what you need if you're Texas. That's what you don't need if you're Kansas State. So shut down the run. Force Murphy to win the game through the air. And if you can generate a little extra pressure on him, Texas has allowed 18 sacks this year. That does it all the better. Second, third, and long situation with the backup quarterback, not going to bode well for the Longhorns. Texas, on the other hand, their defense, and we've said it all year, said it even last year, is underrated. I believe they have a pretty good defense. They're only giving up 98 rushing yards per game, 230 through the air. They have forced 13 turnovers on the year. They forced 3 last week against BYU, like we mentioned. And I think, once again, that's going to be the key for Texas here. Texas defensively, if they can force Kansas State to be one-dimensional, we talk about how balanced they were. So if you really take away the running game and force Will Howard to do everything, or you shut down Will Howard and force the running game to do everything, Texas is going to be sitting pretty. They're going to be in a much better spot as a team if they can force them to be one-dimensional. But ultimately, if you are Texas, you would love another day, maybe need another day like you had last week against BYU, where your defense comes through clutch and gives the offense some short fields, whether that's big special teams plays on punt returns, blocked kicks, whether that's forcing some turnovers and setting your team up inside the opponent's territory. That's what you've got to do if you're Texas. I don't think the Longhorns are going to want to see too many drives where Malik Murphy and this offense have to go 75, 80 yards down the field to go score. That's not what you want if you're Texas. So if you are Texas defense, hope you get some big-time stops deep in their own territory so even the punts don't do that much. Force a couple turnovers, rattle Will Howard. That was big last year. Texas sealing the win last year in Manhattan on a turnover, on pressure on the quarterback. So that's what you've got to do if you're Texas. There's a lot to be said there. Easier said than done. But the Longhorns have risen to the challenge all year long. They shut down Alabama and Tuscaloosa. They've played relatively well these last few weeks since that Oklahoma loss. Give the Longhorns some credit. Again, stopping the run and creating opportune moments for your offense like they did against BYU. That's going to be the key for Texas to win this game. So what's going to happen, guys? This is a very big game in Austin that I don't think people are talking nearly enough about. We're talking Alabama, LSU. We're talking Missouri and Georgia. We're talking USC and Washington. Don't sleep on the Big 12. Don't sleep on Texas and Kansas State, where this game is between two teams tied for first in the conference and will do a lot in determining who plays in that championship game here in about a month, and maybe whether or not Texas makes the college football playoff or their hopes die in Austin. So what is going to happen? You know what? Let's go upset. Let's go upset. Give me Kansas State to win this game over Texas. I genuinely like the Wildcats here. I love it. They are playing as well as anybody in the country right now. Defensively, offensively, they are firing on all cylinders. That loss to Oklahoma State was a wake-up call for this team. They have been a completely different team since then on both sides of the ball. They have played Texas extremely, extremely close these last few years, even in Austin. Even in Austin, they've played them extremely close. They are overdue for a victory, and now is the time to get it. Early morning game against a backup quarterback with your defense playing the way that they are. Kansas State will go into Austin. We're going to give them the win over Texas. And Kansas State pulls off this massive upset to eliminate the Longhorns from college football playoff contention, to keep the Wildcats' Big 12 title hopes alive, and ultimately just create absolute chaos in the Big 12. Kansas State snaps their 6-game losing streak to Texas. Chaos ensues across college football. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Again, we're on a 55-26 run against the spread. If you don't sign up for those, we don't know what you're doing, because no other outlet's going to give you a run that good. So go sign up for those today over on thegridironexpert.com. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.